What is up, YouTube? Today we're going to be testing the rated capacity of this Rubbermaid fold-out table. What is up, YouTube? Today we're going to be putting our first performance upgrade on the Suburban. If you've seen in the last video, I put the 6-inch rough country suspension lift on there, and this thing's going to have big tires, and I'm planning on towing with it, so it's going to need some big brakes. This is going to be like a two-part upgrade for the Suburban. On the rear, it's an upgrade, you know, with the slotted rotors and stuff that's offered from Powerstop. I've got the Z36 carbon fiber brake pads. This is the towing package. I got it with the brake calipers, but on the front, we're going to be upgrading to the 2007 calipers and rotors on the front. So that's an upgrade in itself, even if you just use the stock components. So before we get into putting these brakes on the Suburban, I want to bring you guys in for a little bit closer look, check these things out, talk about them a little bit, because if you're thinking about putting brakes on your vehicle and you need like all new calipers and rotors, this is something that you might want to be looking at. So this video in no way is sponsored by Powerstop. I even contacted them about putting the 2007 and up brakes on the 2001 Suburban, and good Lord, the sun is bright. And they said that this would not be under warranty. So I guess I've still got a warranty on the rear brakes, but I'm going to take the risk and go ahead and put the 2007 brakes on the Suburban because it's a major upgrade. We'll get into that here in a minute. But I want to bring you guys in closer and get you guys a closer look at these brakes. For the rear, we got our standard rotor. On this vehicle, the parking brake is built into the, so it kind of has like a brake drum for the parking brake. Dual piston calipers for the rear. These are aluminum, and that's what was wrong with this thing. It had sat so long that I guess the calipers had seized up, because I guess there's like metal and aluminum or something. I really don't know, but the rear brakes is what was wrong. Carbon fiber brake pads. Yes, I'm not just saying that, they are carbon fiber brake pads. These are the Z36 Extreme Truck and Tow. This whole kit is the truck and tow kit. The pads and rotors is one kit. The calipers is part of another kit. So it comes with like a bunch of the clips, like way more hardware than you're gonna need. It does have a new banjo washer. I guess that's what that's called, the copper washers for the brake lines. There's like multiple of those in this kit. Really not much of an upgrade in the size of the rotor between the front and the rear. I got a rear rotor right here. Yeah, rear rotor is the exact same size as the stock one. The only upgrade on the rear is the cross-drilled and slotted rotors and the carbon fiber brake pads. Speaking of carbon fiber brake pads, there is a break-in procedure that you're supposed to do. We will not be doing that in this video because the Suburban is far from being ready to drive. I'm just going to get the brakes on there, so we're not going to be like doing any of that in this video. For the front, same exact thing, carbon fiber brake pads for the front. We do have a little bit of an upgrade, like I said, for the 2007 brake calipers. It comes with a mounting hardware, so this should be just bolt on. From what I've read, these calipers should just bolt right on, and the rotor should bolt right on, but you will need 18-inch wheels if you do this upgrade. Your factory 16, 17s won't work, I think. I have seen videos where people have done this and put their stock wheels back on it and it cleared, but I've also seen where people have had to grind a couple of things to get the wheels to clear. Grind, I don't remember where, but we will not be doing that because we're going to be putting big wheels and big tires on the big Suburban. So for the front rotor, there is definitely a major upgrade going on here in the size. You can tell the difference in the size just looking at it. But I'll try to get this rotor. Hopefully none of that corrosion will transfer. I'll try to get it all centered up there. There we go. Quite a bit of difference. This rotor is right at about 12 inches, stock front rotor. And this rotor is right at about 13 inches. So a substantial brake upgrade on the front. Yeah, definitely a bigger caliper. So we got an upgrade going on there. I don't know if I mentioned that these calipers are actually, they're just remanufactured and powder coated. So they're not like brand new, but that's okay because that's what you're going to be getting from the parts store anyway, is remanufactured. And to buy this stuff like brand new from GM, there's no telling how much these calipers would cost. I don't normally like to pick favorites, But there's a few people out there that click on my YouTube videos just to hear me ramble, and you guys are my favorites. But I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that have clicked on this video that doesn't want to hear me ramble, so let's get to putting these brakes on the Suburban. Hell yeah! Okay, I'm no brake professional, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So if you're following along, I'm not going to say this is how you should do it, but this is how I'm going to do it. We'll put me a little anti-seize around this hub right here. Oh, excuse me. And maybe put a little bit on here. Just a little. Not doing anything to the parking brake right now because the parking brake was fine. And I've already cleaned these rotors with brake cleaner before I started. So I already got that taken care of. And these are labeled, they're directional. And these are labeled rear driver's side right here. So you can't really screw that up. Put me a lug nut on here to hold her into place. Alright, we got our caliper bracket here. We'll put that on there first. This kit comes with a little tube of grease. It says that it's synthetic, I don't know, but it looked like anti-seize to me. So I'm just going to put me a little anti-seize in here where these clips will go here on the back. Maybe to help them, keep them from corroding inside there. Oh, there it goes. Put a little brake clip in there. Put a little bit of blue Loctite on these. Get these mounted up here. Let's see here. 18 millimeter. Go ahead and tighten these up here. Alright, so now I'm going to put my brake pads on here with our wear indicators going to the top. I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize on this part here. Probably doing this terribly wrong. Let me know in the comments if I'm doing anything different than what you would normally do on a brake job. So what I like to do, and I don't see a lot of people do this, is I like to put just a little thin film on this part right here where the metal of the caliper, you know, actually touches, so it can lubricate this a little bit. Greasing my brakes up here. Yeah, but I like to put like a thin coat on that. Try not to get any on the actual brake surface. Yep, just like that. Do the same on the back. Whoa. There we go. And there's a left and a right to these, because if you put this one on the other side, your brake bleeder would be on the bottom. You don't want that. I'm a little worried about actually bleeding these brakes because I've had them completely unhooked. I tried to plug it off so you know, it wouldn't drain all of the brake fluid out, but I'm pretty sure it did. So I'm gonna probably have a good time trying to get these brakes bled up. So learning as I go. I should have torqued the caliper bracket before I put the caliper on. So gonna have to pull the caliper back off, torque the bracket. 122 foot-pounds, if I remember. I mean, that's pretty tight. Not a super high quality torque wrench, so it can't be very accurate, right? Of course, somebody put a jack stand right in the way. Gotta always double click it. so you know. There we are. All right, now I can put my caliper back on. Torque specs on these caliper bolts are 30 foot-pounds, and I don't really want to bother. I think I'm just going to go with how tight I think they should be on this. About that tight is what I think. Click, click. Beep, 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 with the fancy one. Beep, 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 beep. I don't normally torque bolts that much, so I don't really have like a super fancy torque wrench. So one thing that this kit did not come with, I keep saying kit, that's what they call it when you buy it. But one thing they didn't come with was new bolts to bolt the brake line to the caliper. But that's okay, I got the other ones cleaned up and they are currently in the powder coat oven. So another part of this brake upgrade that I'm doing, I've got stainless steel braided brake lines all the way around, everywhere there's a brake line. Got these from Summit Racing. And I haven't got this tight yet because I wasn't sure where I was going to need to orientate this to get this hooked up where it needs to be. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get the hose mounted to the caliper here and get it in place over here with the clip and tighten that up. Here we go. Did come with new copper crush washers. Damn microphone magnetized to the rotor. 37 foot-pounds. I'm just going to go with, is that tight enough, and try not to break the hollow bolt. I think that'll do it. We'll check for leaks later. Until I can find a way to torque these down, I will, before I drive it, I'll find a way to correctly torque those bolts down, so you guys don't have to worry about that. Alright, so now I got to figure out how to get my brake line in here where I need it to be. Let's move this camera. I just need a hammer. I'm sure there's a proper way to put it on here, and it's not with the handle of a ratchet. Good Lord. I feel sorry for the sucker that's ever got to take that back off. That's about as tight as I can get that. But when I took it loose, it wasn't even really tight from the factory. But anyway, good Lord, that was a battle. Trying to get that clip on there and get that tightened up. Whew, got that done. Well, that takes care of the back brakes. I'm not going to bore you guys with doing the other side. It's exactly the same, just right the opposite. That's looking pretty pimp. I am excited on how that turned out. The whole rear end, that just brings it all together right there. Really enjoying that. I've always wanted some cross-drilled slotted rotors on something, so that's pretty cool. So let's move up to the front. The front's going to be a little tricky because, like I said earlier, these brakes are for the 2007 up, and this is a 2001, so it's not really the correct brakes, but we're gonna put them on there anyway, just like I did on the back. I'm gonna put a little thin film of anti-seize. Right. Yeah, so I've misplaced my little bolt that goes in here. I'll find it. For now, I'm just gonna use some lug nuts to hold this on. We'll round that sucker up. A little dab of anti-seize up in here where that clip's gonna ride. Just gonna put a little dab in there. A little bit of blue Loctite on my caliper bolts here. Okay, moment of truth. Will this really just bolt right up like they say it will? Oh, guess a smart man would have put the little clips on there first. Never claim to be a wise man. Dang, them are hot from sitting out there. I honestly have no idea how these go on there. Not like that. Apparently they go on there like this. I'm trying to do this so the camera can see it. Something like that. Alright, so now, moment of truth. See if this will bolt on there like they say it will. If I can figure out how to orientate it. Working off of jack stands is fun, let me tell you. Fun, fun, fun. Would you look at that? It does bolt right up. One of the reasons why, there's probably going to be somebody out there thinking, why didn't you just do the 19 and up brakes? You gotta like do a bunch of spacers and a whole lot more modifications. And I felt like the 2007 upgrade is better than the way it was. And actually the Suburban stopped fine to me before, but now with these big tires on it, it probably won't stop as well. Let's not make the same mistake I made last time and go ahead and tighten these up. Okay, these torque to 173. But my torque range only goes to 150. I don't think I could even pull 150. But we'll see. Probably pull it off the damn jack stands trying. Oh, dang. I remember when I took these loose, I had to use a pop. All right, that's pretty dang tight. So on these, a little different from stock. They're not the same. The one on the back has the flat place on it, and the one on the front has the rounded place. And your squeaker goes on the bottom on this wear indicator, squeaker, whatever you want to call it. Put me a little stuff on her. Now we can put a caliper on there, I think. I think. Tied a lot tight on my caliper bolts here. If you're ever doing this, make sure you got your bleeder on the top. Because it'll be a struggle if you don't. Tighten these up with our 19mm. These go to 74 foot-pounds. I mean, where do they get the 4? I mean, what? I mean, I guess it's even, but why wouldn't they just make it 75, you know?
what kind of testing do they do to come up with the torque needs to be 74 foot-pounds. 75's too tight. Gotta double click it. All right, so that takes care of getting the rotor and the caliper attached with our new pads, but we are not in the clear yet because, let's see if I can get you guys a shot of this right here. So something that I was a little worried about, and I think I had seen online people talk about, but I've already kind of tried to see how this is going to go on here, and I think I'm going to have to do an angle like that. I don't know if it's supposed to go on the factory caliper. Yeah, so like this, it won't go. That's probably not getting it in the shot, but the hole's not lined up. Like, and then of course it's got this big thing over here, but that's the side that's supposed to hook. So I think the only way that it's going to line up and head in the right direction is at an angle like that. And there's an angle made on this, but on the other caliper it actually comes in like this. But I can't because the threads won't line up. There's nothing to thread it into. So I think the smartest way to do it about on this is at an angle like that. So that's what I'm going to do. Tight enough for now. Almost. I'm not going to be able to get any more slack here. I wish this bracket was shorter so I could have a little bit of flex here and just one bolt. I may take this bracket off and cut it. So I've got this one bolt and enough to have some slack right in here. And then I can pull this a little bit tighter. Yeah, I'm going to fool with this. I'm going to fool with this later off camera. Not really bore you guys with that too much. This thing right here is supposed to clip into this bracket, but by the time it's not going to be long enough either. What a pain in the booty. Yeah, this thing's supposed to like snap onto this bracket right here, but then it makes that super tight. Rides along up through there. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around and zip tie it along with the brake line here. Do it something like this. Come around up in here, and then this plug will reach it. You can see that. Hell yeah, YouTube, would you just look at it? Just look at it. Super excited about it. Oh man, that's so pimp. And then back here on the back, I got my, put my wheel spacers on there. Undecided on whether or not I'm keeping the wheel spacers or not, but I got them on there because it looks pretty pent. Hell yeah. All right, thanks for checking out my video about putting on the brakes out here. Hopefully somebody out there has stumbled across this video. If you're new here, let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you think. If you see anything I did wrong, I mean, I have some thick skin. If you guys want to hate on me for putting anti-seize out on the outside of the brake pads, whatever, for doing this while wearing Crocs and socks, you know, tell me I'm ugly. I don't care. Just let me know. And if you think this would be something like a buddy of yours is wanting to put some brakes on their vehicle, share this video with them. Everything that I bought in this project cost somewhere a little over $900. And I know that sounds expensive, but like I said earlier in the video, I priced all this stuff out. I was going to try to save as much money as I could, but I knew that I wanted to put all 4 calipers and all 4 rotors and new pads, of course. And I looked at, like, you know, there's like a police edition Tahoe that has like thicker pads and thicker stuff like that. that was going to be even more. A decent set of parts from like Advanced Auto Parts or something like that was going to cost me like $900, you know. There's a core charge, and there's a core charge on this stuff too. I can send my old calipers back and get a couple of $100 off of that. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to save the boxes, send my calipers back, get my core charge back on that. So, you know, that'll bring it down to what, $700 and something for this. So that's not too bad. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for today. So now I'm going to try to make me one of those clickbait thumbnails for YouTube. Thank you guys. See you in the next one.